And in part C of lesson 2, we are going to look at how animals care for, or not care for in some cases, their young. Most amphibians and reptiles do not provide parental care, while most birds and mammals typically care for their offspring. So not all animals take care of their young. Most aquatic invertebrates, fishes, amphibians, release many eggs into the water and then just kind of completely ignore them. So they just, they release the eggs and then they go off about their life and don't really think any more about their offspring. Most amphibians, like those tadpoles that we talked about in the last lesson, will develop into adults without any parental help whatsoever. These types of organisms then need to be independent from the time that they hatch. They receive no parental care, so they have to be able to take care of themselves from birth. Also, we sort of see a correlation between the number of offspring between organisms that do care and don't care for their young. So if you think about fish, reptiles, those types of things that don't care for their young, they just, leave the eggs and then go off. Typically, there's lots and lots and lots of offspring as a result. That's because if they have to take care of themselves, many of them are not going to make it. Many of them are not going to survive. So in order for the species to continue, they need to lay lots of eggs and have lots of offspring in the hopes that some of them will survive and make it. There are animals, on the other hand, who do provide parental care. And the range of this goes from, a few weeks to years taking care of their young. So most birds and all mammals typically spend weeks to years under the care and protection of a parent. So as we notice with birds, they lay their eggs in a nest that the parents build, and then one or both of the parents will sit on those eggs and keep them warm until they hatch. And then they go around and provide food and come back and feed. So most parent birds feed and protect their young until they're able to care for themselves. So until the bird can fly, the parents of the bird will sort of help take care of it by, providing it warmth, going getting it food, coming back and feeding it. When it comes to mammals, no matter what type of mammal they are, the young mammals are usually quite helpless for a long time after they're born. So think about a newborn baby. It couldn't take care of itself. It couldn't survive. It couldn't get food. It can't even walk. So all young mammals are fed with milk from the mother's body. And then one or both of the parents may continue to care for that offspring until it's independent. So really, depending on the species of animal, that length of time that the parents take care of it really varies widely. So in birds, they may only need a few weeks of being taken care of by the parents until they're able to go off, on their own. Think about humans. We typically think about taking care of our offspring, until they're adults, until they can go off and sort of live on their own. Now, physiologically speaking, probably at about 12 or 13, you could probably go off on your own and survive if you had to. But we rely on our parents, for our entire lives, basically, or the lives of our parents. So the parental care really depends on the species of animal. But also, like I said earlier, those organisms that do not take care of their young will produce many more offspring just in the hopes that they survive. So if you look on page 261, I want you to work through this today in your textbook. So let me kind of talk through how you're going to complete this analyzing data math question on page 261. So suppose that you are a scientist researching how many fox and turtle offspring survive the first year of life. Foxes provide parental care, but turtles do not. So we're going to compare how many offspring these animals have, look at whether or not they provide parental care, and then look to see how many of those offspring survive after 1 year. So it says in number 1 here, it says, using the information in the second and fourth columns of the table, calculate the number of offspring that survive the first year. Put your answer in the third column. All right, so let's go over to this chart. And what it's telling you to do is you're going to put your answers right here. So if fox have 5 offspring and 60% of them survive the first year, you're filling in the number of offspring that survive. So you're calculating what is 60% of 5. With the turtles, they typically have around 20 offspring, and only about 20% of them survive the first year. So what's 20% of 20? So if you remember from your math, in order to get 60% of 5, you're going to take 5 times 0.60 to get your answer. So 5 times 0.6 to get what 60% of 5 is. So likewise for the turtle, you're going to take 2 times 0.2 to get the percentage. All right, once you get those numbers, it wants you to come down here and graph your results. It says use the data from the table to construct a double bar graph in the space provided. Label the vertical axis, then provide a key for the data. So don't forget to put your key up there. So basically what you're going to do is come down here and you're going to build a bar graph for the turtles at birth and the fox at birth, and then build your bar graph in here, looking over on this side for the number of offspring. So you're looking at the number of offspring at birth for turtle and fox. And then you're going to do the same thing for after the first year. You're going to look at the number of turtles after 1 year, the number of fox after 1 year, build your bar graph here, again looking over here for the numbers. And then once you come up here and build a key for your graph. And then come over here and answer questions 3 and 4. So that's what I would like you to work on now, is on page 261 in your textbook. Just kind of read through this. I've kind of explained it, but if you read through it, you'll get it. You're calculating the number of fox, the number of turtle that survive after 1 year, and then you are building a graph looking at the number of fox and turtle at birth, also a graph of the number of fox and turtle after 1 year, and then using that information to answer questions 3 and 4. Alrighty, see you next time.